the Ferengi call him up, and they're like, "Hey,
Dane Bach ain't in charge anymore."
Yeah, he's in jail for engaging in this unprofitable venture." Because the Ferengi are like, "Look, dude, like,
if you were gonna make some scratch out,
if you were wanting to get some revenge, you need to get some money out of it.
Right?
Like, we gave away this starship for nothing. I mean,
Pretty
we could have
much.
sold it to him, and we would have been totally cool with you trying to kill the captain because of whatever happened with you and your kid. Whatever.
Yep.
But and that's the end of the battle.
It was. I'd say it was probably my least favorite of the four we watched. I still liked it a lot, but like the other three are just so strong. I think Hide and Q.
Q returns. He
very quickly. Like he's like they were like, we can't wait to get this guy back.
He takes everyone except Picard.
Yep.
Well, he says he wants to play a game.
Right.
Like, let's play a game. And he takes them to Arizona, it looks like.
Arizona with like a green backdrop.
Like he takes them out to Tempe.
Yeah.
But it's there's two moons. Tatooine.
Yeah, he takes them to
Tatooine. And he looks like a French marshal from
Napoleon times.
Yeah, from Napoleon times. And he's like, look, the point is to stay alive. And Tasha's like, I'm not gonna play this stupid game. And he's like, that's a penalty, and takes her to the penalty box,
which is the bridge.
Which is weird.
Yeah, like he sends her there, and so Picard can see her. So I guess the Enterprise, they're not really on the Enterprise, I guess, or they're in some sort of like God space outside of time version of the Enterprise, because Picard
sees, he's like, what, like, why are you here? And she says, I'm in Q's penalty box, which would be the dopest name for a band, right?
Yeah.
Q's penalty box.
Yep.
But what's weird is that
a Trek rock band.
Q goes onto the bridge, and Tasha like backtalks him or something, and he's like, penalty over, but she's still there.
He doesn't send her back?
No.
So she never gets back to the ship? Or
no,
she never gets sent back down?
Back to the island, yeah. Or to Tempe. So Q tells Picard that he's testing Riker to see if
he's worthy of the ultimate gift.
The Q powers.
Yeah.
And so down on Tempe in Tatooine, they're like French soldiers, but they're like
they've got pig faces.
Yeah, they're like weird, crazy animals. Worf attacks them. Worf is like, he's like, fuck it, I'm ready to do this.
Right. This is really the most action Worf gets this week, isn't it?
And like he's gotten all season so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Like he's loving it. And so the fuck happens? Hold on. Okay, so Q's like, that's the point of the game, and Picard's like, Riker's not going to go for it. I know Riker. He's a cool dude. He's not going to do it.
Right.
And he's like, you want to bet? Bet.
And so what do they bet?
Bet.
That's right. Picard bets his command.
Yeah.
Against Q leaving them alone forever.
Forever, yeah. Like leave the human race alone forever. Which, I mean, spoiler alert.
He won't.
Riker passes the test, and yet Q shows up at least a few more times.
We'll have to. What's also interesting, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. We learn a lot more about what Q actually is in this episode, and it's a very classic Trek sort of thing to learn about him. It reminds me a lot of Trelane,
the Squire of Gothos.
Yes, yeah. We'll get there though. I think he's every bit as delightful as Trelane, maybe even more so. I liked him a lot more in this episode than I liked him in Encounter at Farpoint, but I think the writing for the character was a little smoother this time out.
So Q tells him, like, hey, Riker, you have these powers. You can, because these guys, these crazy animal dudes that are dressed up like French soldiers, they have muskets, but they fire like phasers.
And they kill Wesley.
Right? Well, they kill Worf.
That's right.
And then Wesley's like, Worf, no! Runs over to him and gets, like, stabbed in the back, like, run through.
It's pretty fucked up. Like, it's pretty violent.
And so Riker's like, no, like I accept the power.
Yeah.
And flicks his hand and sends everyone back to the ship and brings Worf and Wesley back to life. And Picard's like, no, dude, you can't do that. Like that shit.
Right.
Like, you can't play God. Like, promise me you won't do that again.
Yeah, promise me. You've accepted this power, now promise me that you will never use it again. He's the Jonathan Kent of outer space.
And Riker's like, all right. And so they arrive to the planet. They're
on a rescue mission.
Yeah, that was the original plan before Q showed up to fuck everything up. And so they get down there and they find a little girl who's died in the explosion.
Right. And Riker has a god boner, but he just can't.
Yeah.
He can't do it.
Troy, is it Troy and Geordi? Are they down there?
I think Crusher is down there. She's the one.
Oh, Crusher! Yeah, Crusher's like you could save her, and Riker's like, yeah, but I made a promise.
That's right. I promised that I wouldn't save human lives anymore.
And so then he's like, and then he's thinking about it, like that's some fucking straight bullshit.
Right.
And so he starts like loud talking Picard, and he's like, Jean-Luc, what the fuck?
Yeah, he starts calling him by his first name.
And I caught that, and
it's the first time in the series he's done it. He
Yeah.
always calls him Sir or Captain.
And Picard's like, dude, you just fucking call me Jean-Luc, Jonathan.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He's like, you don't know me.
And he's like, oh, shit, you're right. But still, like...
Still, let me bring these babies back to life.
And,
let me prove that I can use this power responsibly.
And Q's like, hey, why don't you give your friends what they want? And he's like, hey, Wesley, what do you want? He's like, well, I want to, I'll give you your secret, deepest desire. And he's like, I don't want you to know that, so I'm just going to make something up. I want to be an adult. And so, like, some dude,
some like, Ivy League college boy.
some, like, American Psycho, like, stage adaptation actor. Like, a Psycho, the musical.
Right.
Shows
appears
up.
on the bridge. This, like, beefcake of a...
Geordi can see again. Some woman, a Klingon woman, is, like, all, like, riled up.
Fuck.
Worf. And
Data... Does he make Data human? No, he offers to. And Data goes...
Nah, it's a slippery slope, dude. But what's funny, I forgot who says it, but... Like, this Klingon woman is, like, on all fours, like... not
crawling
like,
up the ramp.
Like a lizard person, like, ready to attack. And someone said, Worf, this is your idea of sex? And he says, this is sex. Like, those Klingons were fucking on the bridge.
Yep.
They got away with it. They got away with Klingon fucking.
Yep.
Think about that.
Think about it.
So, but everyone's like, no, this isn't right. This isn't the right way. Like, the journey's...
We don't want this.
The journey is
the destination.
The journey is the destination, whatever. And so, Riker's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I don't want these powers. I reject them! I declare rejection! And so Picard's like, boom, you failed, dude.
Well, he looks at Picard and he's like, I've been acting like an idiot. And Picard actually smiles and he's like, yeah, you have. Get off my ship.
And so he's...
Well, they talk about Q and they figure out, like... They kind of figure out, like, he's not as badass as he's making himself out to be. He's sort of... Like, he likes to play dress-up, they figure out. And they figure out that... they need humanity because, like, there's some piece of humanity that the Q don't understand, like his people. But he's not the only one because he sort of gets yanked out by... He's like Mixie Spitlick.
He's forcibly removed.
By his people.
Because they're like, you made a deal.
Yeah, you made a deal and you have to abide by it. And it's very Squire of Gothos-esque, where it's like, you wonder if Q is actually just a child.
Maybe.
Like, I was winning!
Good episode.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Very nice update to the old Trek tropes about like power and some good character.
No
work
one
for
man
Riker.
should have all that power.
Yeah.
Just like Kanye West said.
Did he say that? When did he say that?
In the song Power.
Look it up.
All right. So the next episode is Haven.
This is another goodie.
Turns out that Deanna Troi is betrothed to a young man named Wyatt.
Just like Simba and Nala.
Yeah, just like. one day you two are gonna be married.
Whenever Wyatt would come visit her, her mother was tongue licking her.
Yeah.
Giving her
Be like, Wyatt, I'm kind of in the middle of a bath.
What's so good about that?
What's so
She was black as a child.
Like they're gonna. If you haven't seen The Lion King in a minute, you might have forgotten that Nala as a child is unmistakably. Unmistakably. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. I like the sound of it.
Unmistakably black.
She's sassy. She's
and she's voiced by a little black girl.
Right.
But there's one part where after Simba is told about the elephant, the quote unquote elephant graveyard by his asshole of an uncle Scar, and he wants to go visit it and wants to take his best friend Nala with him. And he's like, I found this really cool place. And Simba's mom is like, and where is this really cool place? And obviously Simba, not wanting to tell, says, by the water hole. And Nala says, the water hole? What's so great about the water hole? But then she becomes a nice white lioness.
Girl by the time she grows up. Yeah.
So
she
weird.
Whitens up for...
That's such a crazy... They play fast and loose with Nazi imagery in that movie too, with the hyenas.
Yeah, the "Be Prepared" song definitely has some
Spielberg.
No, where's the big rally? Is it Nuremberg?
Maybe.
I know that's where they had the trials. Anyway, but yeah, it looks like the will to power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's crazy. But anyways, that's happening with Troy and Deanna Troi and Wyatt.
Right. Without the Nazi imagery.
Without all the, race, the crazy race relations and
a suitcase
Nazi imagery.
With a face shows up and dumps out some jewelry, and she's like, "No!"
It's like this is like
this is the worst thing.
Like Tasha's like fucking awesome, and she's like, "No, this is the worst."
Poor Tasha rocks a really 80s hairstyle later in the episode when she puts on her formal hair.
Yeah,
she puts on her going out hair.
That's like crazy 80s. So they're gonna have this marriage.
Right.
Troy's mom shows up,
played by Majel Barrett,
Mrs. Roddenberry.
Mrs. Roddenberry.
And also, Wyatt's a doctor. He's human. He's full human as opposed to...
Right. Troy's father was human, and the Wyatt's family Wyatt's father, I guess, was his best friend.
Yeah.
So they betrothed them when they were young, but since Troy's dad died, Mrs. Troy has been...
full-fledged betazoid.
Right, has gone back to kind of living like her people. And, the Wyatts, I guess, called in the favor. They're like, hey... We're ready to take your daughter now.
And Wyatt shows up, and he's kind of like, hey, oh.
You don't look right.
Well, he's just kind of like, oh, what's up? And I'm like, dude, like...
She's lovely.
What? Like, oh.
You have no reason to be disappointed.
Like, you're no fucking... Like, you're alright looking, dude, but
you
like...
got great hair.
Like, you have really dope hair, but let's fucking... You're a doctor,
Call
whatever.
a spade a spade.
But, dude, come on. Like, that's... You're a dick. She's lovely.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. She has great cans.
Seriously, and she's a nice person on top of it.
It turns out that he's been seeing this image of a woman since he was a kid.
Yeah, this extra in a music video from the 80s.
And he's been drawing her. So
he thought that
he's
that
like,
was
oh,
her
for
projecting.
sure. Like, this is the woman I'm supposed to marry. Like, for sure, that's who I'm drawing. And so that's why he wasn't like disappointed. Well, I guess he was disappointed, but it wasn't like based on her looks or anything.
No, it was because he thought he was finally going to have closure on this thing that's been haunting him his whole life. And meanwhile, Riker is pretty bummed about all of this.
Yeah, because I mean, him and Troy used to bone down.
Right. Well, they were in love.
And Riker's like, "Are you going to marry this dude? All right." And
she's like, "Hey, can't you be happy for me?" And he's like,
"Whatever." And she talks to Wyatt about it, and she's like, yeah, there was a dude before you. I'm not a virgin, FYI.
FYI.
I'm not gonna wear white.
He's pretty cool about it though.
He's like, what happened? He's like, oh, he wants to be a starship captain. And then he meets Riker, and he's like, are you the dude who wants to be a starship captain? He's like, this is awkward.
Like, I'm cool.
This is totally awkward.
You're the guy who likes getting rimmed, right?
You're the guy who draws creepy pictures of ladies in his dreams or whatever.
Right.
Whatever, dude.
I know about you too. You're not the only one she talks to, okay? I got there first.
All right, boom.
Boom, planted that flag in the sand.
Like, tell me what my dick tastes like, dude.
Well, Riker goes to mope. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Meanwhile, Troy's mom is being such an asshole.
Yep, she makes Picard carry her luggage.
Yeah.
Which is really